inconsiderate individual that doesn't know that he can't park here. Let's get a close up on that tag number. You're an idiot, dude. It won't be too much longer. They have a new ramp down here on Ponce, their belt line.
On a historic moment.
He's the rising lion.
For over 4 decades, we have had a regime that from the very beginning planted the seed of hatred, of violence, of instability, of antagonism, of interference, of using its proxies to conduct, from their point of view, a mission of exporting an ideological religious revolution. I'm saying God, by a movement of the head, by a fraction of an inch. To this day, Donald Trump says his ear throbs. You know what that means? Every time his ear throbs, God reminds him, I spared your life for this assignment. That's why the man is so focused. And that's why he's got faith. Yeah, and I think a big part of that assignment, speaking of Iran, was to deal with that Iranian nuclear threat. Yeah, and that great prayer, that great acknowledgement when he made his speech. And we love, we want to thank certain people. Of course, we thank God. We love you, God. I love that line. We love you, God. I've never heard an American president speak like that. I asked him, and I said, was that on the teleprompter? They said, no, he totally went off script on that one. And honor God, and he will honor you. I think we should have happening in America. We should have happening in America right now. More on that with our good friend Lance Wall now after the break. What about the Trump tariffs? A good thing, a lot of controversy surrounding them, of course, but some major moves on that front. We're going to break it down with Lance and why. Eric, I was at a meeting, the historic meeting that turned the evangelical tide for Donald Trump. He had like a 19% approval rating. Yeah. Man's married 3 times. We don't even know if he's a Christian. He's from The Apprentice. Meanwhile, we got Ted Cruz, we got Huckabee, we got Ben Carson, we got Rubio, we got all the evangelicals and pro-life Catholics were happy with everything except for this guy from Queens, right? So he had a meeting in New York at the Marriott Hotel, 2016. And he came out kind of reluctantly, but Mike Huckabee said, I'll do the interview for you. And he did the interview. And Donald Trump bonded with 1,100 of the influencer evangelicals. I mean, Dr. Dobsons were there, and there's all the Sammy Rodriguez had a question. Yeah. So everybody was there. I was at that meeting watching it. And Donald Trump won them. It went from like 12% or 19% to 93% endorsement. And that was what he knew. Boom. That would help him win the election. That's why he's very close with evangelicals to this day. Here's my point. He's going down his talking points with the evangelicals. He's just getting to meet them right now. And he says, and how about, he talks about, about pro-life. Oh, big cheers and shouts. Yeah. About second guns. Oh, then he says, and how about that John Korean is going to be, this country's 25%, Philippines 25%, Japan 25%, Brazil 50%. It's like, what I love about Donald Trump, and I'm just going to enjoy the era while he's here, because we didn't have this. His first term in office, he was surviving against Russian collusion and 2 impeachments. His second ripped off office, they were trying to lock him up for 700 years, and then 2 people tried to shoot him. So it's like nail biters. Yeah. And now he comes in, and it's like I was almost like PTS. I'm still traumatized over when now I'm looking at. Wait a second, we're actually now I can sit back and I'm enjoying the moment now. He's got a mandate that we got that, but I got to tell you, it's hilarious what he's doing with tariffs because he has all the cards. America may not always have the cards, but we got them now, and that means China is trying to compete with us globally, but they can't. It's not time for that. And what Donald Trump does is he says a tariff on you, a tariff on you. He basically, all the BRICS nations, they get together and say, we're going to resist the dollar. We're going to create our own currency. He goes, every country that does that, tariffs. He's got the ability to pop them all in the head. It's like whack-a-mole, and they all go back down.
That's like the euro.
Said they're going to prosecute Bolsonaro, who Trump likes. He's been to Mar-a-Lago. They call him the Trump of the tropics. They got they're ideologically the same. The evangelicals love them, and the deep state hates them. And so, what does Trump say? He says, "You guys are going to try to lock him up like they tried to lock me up. You're going to prosecute him. Just cut him a break, will you?" And they wouldn't do it. They said no. He said 50% tariff. Wow. I know how to negotiate with you. Yeah. He'll raise it to 75% if they try to prosecute and lock him up. Yeah. They have got to negotiate this.
Trump is using economics as a weapon of statecraft.
Yeah, it's the art of the deal. Lance, as you said, he has all the cards, he has all the leverage, and he's not afraid to use it. Imagine that.
Cutters and a steel metal spike on him. He also had an outstanding warrant from Walton County.
A long journey ahead for a family of 7. Their boat exploded on Lake Lanier on the 4th of July near Landshark Cove.
Members of the family, the youngest just 5, were all rushed to Grady's burn unit. Fox 5's Rob Durienzo is live there tonight. Rob, you spoke to the father of that family.
Yeah, Russ, Courtney, good evening to you both. You could tell he was still shaken up by all of this, understandably. This after it was supposed to be a nice day out on the water on Lake Lanier, and it almost turned deadly on the 4th of July when their boat exploded.
For me to have all my babies on there, it was, why today? Why?
A holiday on the water, so close to ending in tragedy on Lake Lanier this past July 4th for the Perkins family.
When it was time to leave, the boat wouldn't crank. I turned my blowers on and crank it, wouldn't crank.
Kendrick Perkins says after the engine wouldn't start, he called a boat tow to take them back to shore.
When he hooked it up, I said, you know what, let me try it one more time. And it blew.
Flames quickly engulfed the boat. 5 of his 6 children, the youngest just 5 years old, suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns, as did his wife, Faith.
I think it would have been really ugly if my wife wasn't there. She did all she could, and we together got them kids off their boat.
Perkins says his wife had a skin graft procedure in Grady's burn unit on Wednesday.
She's in good spirit. She's stronger than me, I tell you that. She's stronger than me. I thought I was the strong one.
The kids that needed surgery have gotten it. The family is raising money online to help pay.
And mounting pressure, the administration will return him to face charges. U.S. District Judge Paula Zinn has heard arguments Thursday and will continue the hearing Friday in federal court. Abrigo Garcia's lawyers have asked Zinnes to order the U.S. government to bring him to Maryland to await his trial in a bid to prevent another deportation.
We're going to argue
He's not
that
being
Mr.
tried
Garcia
in
has
Maryland.
the right to meaningful notice and meaningful opportunity to be heard by an immigration judge prior to being put on any plane.
Abrigo Garcia could be released from a Tennessee jail as early as next week.
Put out
He was
once.
arrested after a 2022 traffic stop where he was found transporting 9 passengers without luggage, triggering federal suspicion. Prosecutors say immigration agents may detain him again and start deportation proceedings, potentially, but it was well within its constitutional authority to detain Khalil.
The Senate Appropriations after a years-long back and forth over the agency's future location. In a previous decision, the FBI was set to move to Greenbelt, Maryland. But last week, the Trump administration pushed to keep it in D.C., just blocks from the current site. In a close vote yesterday, though, lawmakers approved an amendment that would bar federal funding from being used to move the FBI to anywhere else besides Greenbelt. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski joined Democrats to back the amendment. The Department of Education says interest will resume on student loans starting next month. The move.
California, the operation sparked clashes with protesters and what appeared to be gunfire aimed at officers. NTD's Christina Corona has the latest.
Federal agents rescued at least 10 immigrant children during a major criminal warrant operation at 2 cannabis farms in Southern California on Thursday, one in Camarillo and another in Carpinteria. 8 of the children were unaccompanied, with the youngest just 14 years old. Officials say the children may have been victims of forced labor, exploitation, human trafficking, or even smuggling. According to the Department of Homeland Security, around 200 illegal immigrants were also arrested at the sites.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a good question. And first of all, you also have to remember that marijuana is a Schedule I illegal drug on a federal level. And the fact that the left would repackage this as strawberry pickers is exactly what you would expect from them. Continued, repointing of the what's actually going on instead of the truth that, the left has built them. They've built this problem. Trump and Tom Homan we ought to be thankful for them for the fact that they're working hard. And you have to think about the big picture here. They know that they can't physically deport enough people over the next few years in order to close this gap. That's the reason why they're using good marketing tactics like showing the El Salvador prison, the alligator Alcatraz, and offering self-deportation options that are paid, because they want to make sure that these people take the opportunities to get themselves out of the illegal situation that they're in. And I'll just wrap with this one thing. It is ridiculous that we should be waiting for these invaders who are already here illegally and have already broken the law to commit another crime which is likely harmful to an American citizen before we deport them. They are here illegally, and they ought to either deport themselves if they want to try to comply with the law and have an opportunity to come back, or they ought to be deported by ICE.
And Ashwani, of course, there are two sides of the arguments here. One, potential human trafficking and potential abuse. Today, President Trump raising this issue. Let's watch.
As you know, 300,000 children are missing, right? 300,000 under Biden. We've already gotten back 10,000 of those children, and we have a lot more planned to come back.
Ashwani, what's the solution to this potential risk and situation here? What can we do to turn it around? And is there any ways that Democrats and Republicans can work together to help these people?
Well, I hope we do. And if President Trump actually cared about border security, he would not be trying to gut asylum, shut down the CBP app, or reject bipartisan border bills that were presented in Congress. He would also not be
Democrat, typical Democrat, typical Democrat.
Just a way to create fear about black and brown immigrants. We need comprehensive
When
immigration reform.
Obama
Congress tried to
has
pass
deported more people
President Trump and candidate Trump
than Donald Trump has.
opposed and rejected.
So,
And Jared, what do you think? Do you see any